Hello, everybody. We are
Hi.
here. It's your girls again. I apologize for any background noise. I am at the Phoenix Abilities Expo. Today is setup day, so that's all the. I'm in a warehouse and there's lots of metal, so that's the crash sound. Anyway, I'm Julianne Valera. Post injury, almost 30 years from transverse myelitis, and I'm a T12 para. Moving along.
Hey, guys. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Michelle Altamirano, and I am 36 years post injury. I have a C6-7 level injury, and I'm glad to be here today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I am Ellen Stoll, and I don't even know how many years I am post-injury. 42, I believe. I am. I don't even know how old I am. I don't even know who I am. I am 42 years post-injury. I just had to go back. I was in 83, so 42 years old post-injury. I'm a C8T1 incomplete quadriplegic, and I'm happy to be here and see everybody. Hi.
Well, before we jump into our topic today, which is going to be some unique things, our unique experiences when travel, let's bring up our sponsors so we can thank mobility professionals and urology professionals for sponsoring Live to Roll and all of our shows. Yay! If you can
Hey,
clap,
thank you,
clap for
guys.
them.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, they know our community. They love our community. Don Woods is the owner, and he's been very, very supportive and generous. And thanks. If you need any DME or any urological stuff, these are the guys to go to.
Yes.
So, thank you to our sponsors. And I don't know. Let's see. I just drove my converted Braun minivan, Toyota Sienna. It's the first time ever driving a hybrid because I bought it on Tuesday and drove to Phoenix on Wednesday. And my advice on buying vehicles is never buy a new one because it depreciates as soon as you drive it off the lot. So I was able to locate a 2022 Toyota Sienna hybrid with 3,000 miles on it. And I am a very, very happy camper. So that's my most recent travel experience. But we're going to talk about driving, flying, planes, trains, and automobiles, right?
Yep.
That's right.
And buses. And buses.
And
Throw them in
buses.
there.
And whatever questions you have, put them in the chat and we will address. So who wants to go first, ladies?
I was going to ask, is your new van adapted, or is it like, because I've heard that there's problems adapting electric vehicles or hybrid vehicles. Can
You
you
want to
hear
see
me?
metal going to? I can hear you just fine. It's the noise of the guys behind me, but I can't really tell them to shut up because it is moving day.
Right.
Yeah. Braun and VMI are the ones who mainly convert vehicles. They're the biggest ones. And this is a Braun conversion. They cut a van in half and they'll drop the floor in either 10 inches, 12 inches, or 14 inches. They're different conversions. This is the 14-inch drop. I've never had one that big before. It's very interesting because normally I drive with a transfer seat, which is a seat that the regular car seat comes back on tracks and turns and goes up and down to make it easier for you to transfer into the driver's seat. And then I drive with hand controls. But because my time was so tight, they didn't have a chance to get the transfer seat in yet. So what I did is I removed the front passenger seat. So I wheeled my wheelchair up into the front passenger seat, and then I have to kind of do an uphill transfer. So I push as hard as I can with my weak little legs, grab the seat, and pull myself in backwards.
Wow.
So I am definitely appreciating how wonderful transfer seats are now on this particular trip.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think converted vans are the way to go because it's so fast. Push the button, ramp comes out, zoom up in transfer and away. But also at the show here, there is a gorgeous deep blue truck and the way it's converted, the whole side of the truck comes out, down, and a ramp comes out. You roll onto the ramp. The whole side of the truck then goes up and back in, and all of a
Wow.
sudden you're behind the steering wheel. It
Yeah, but I
is
hear
the
those run about
coolest.
100,000, right?
Yep, just
Yeah,
about between 90 and 100. And that, well, it's pretty souped up, but this one is
yeah,
somewhere between 90 and 100. And then there'll be the expo special and all of that. So if you're in Phoenix, come see it. But not Phoenix, Scottsdale. Come see it. It's the coolest thing. It's made by
Wow.
ATC.
all
Um,
right.
That sounds cool.
anyway, so yeah, there's lots of options. Um, but you had a lift, Michelle, on your van that went out and down like that, right?
Yeah, I drive a full-size van. I'm on my third van in 36 years. I
That's pretty good.
really like the full-size van. I know I've considered a Toyota Sienna for a while, but my husband and I like to drive a lot. So we, go visit family when my daughter was in college. And in a minivan, it's like once the chair's in there, it's like that's it. You don't have a lot of room for stuff. And we travel quite a bit. And the other thing that I like is to be seated up higher. My visibility is great.
I like
I feel safer driving a heavy duty van. I'm past the, wanting to look cute in the cute little hot car and all of that. That happened years ago. And, this what, you know what? I don't care. It gets me to where I need to go safely. It's been dependable. The van's going to last a long time. And I love it. What do
And
I'm
you
if you're
not,
drive,
yeah.
go,
Roland?
yours is
And
a
I just
Ford.
sent Sean a pic. I just sent Sean a pic of my car, except that's my old one. This is my new one. So I drove a Mustang initially. I was sucked into the I want to look really good in my little car. So I had a Mustang convertible for the longest time until I was taking my daughter to kindergarten, at which point I had to get in and out 18 times a day, it felt like, and I no longer wanted to drive anywhere because lifting my butt in and out of a Mustang convertible. Although a convertible is a great car in terms of getting the chair in, you pop the wheels off, you can just throw it because
Gotcha.
there's no top, and it would just go in the back. It knock the crap out of the seats. But I drove that, and so my daughter was 5, 2007. Do the math. So I drove that for 20 years, a Mustang convertible. So I drove a
Yeah.
Mustang initially, loved it until my strength gave way, and I was like, I have to have something better. And I did love Leon's comment and wheelchairs as a means of travel, because I will say, Leon, I use my wheelchair more as a means of travel than I drive these days for the most part. If I can
Yeah.
wheel there, I would rather wheel there than drive. So it is probably one of my number one ways of transportation. So I drove that for forever, and then I had my accident in a van, and was still dealing, I think, with some internalized ableism about all disabled people drive vans, and didn't want to
Exactly.
deal with that. Didn't want to let go of my car as my identity, which is just bullshit. But I was still young. Uh, so I got the Scion. I got in 2008. Freedom Motors adapted the Scion, the Toyota Scion XB, and I got one of the first Toyota Scions on a driver's side, and I absolutely love it. So I do drive from my chair. I lock it down and drive from my chair, which is probably not the safest, but man, it is in and out in 2 minutes. You lock down, you get in, you get out, and it still has room for 4 passengers as well as the hatch. So, I mean, I have toted me and my girlfriends everywhere with our luggage stacked in the back. We have gone to Comic Cons with costumes and wigs, and 4
Everything.
people in that car. So I absolutely love that car. I had my 2008 for several years, but again, the hydraulics, anytime you adapt a car and you
Yeah.
muck with the structure of it, they're not going to last as long as other cars. And I was getting worried that my old little Scion wouldn't work. And so I found another one, believe it or not, in Chicago,
Wow.
um, and a red one. So now mine is red, and it only had 3,000 miles on it. And so we got it for a great
Great.
price. My ex flew out and drove it back across the country, and I've been driving that one ever since. Now, last time I checked, and I think it was at the expo, the LA Expo or the Abilities Expo out here, Aero Motors had another little red one with only 29,000 miles on it. No, it didn't have that
Wow.
many. I don't know. But I was like, do I buy it and just store it so that when mine gives out, I can keep my Scion? Because
Back up.
that is how much I love that car. I absolutely love
Yeah.
that car. So because
They
because
stopped
it has,
making them years ago.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
you can't. They are the unicorn now. So I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. But I think if in the future I had to get a van, I'd probably go with the full size, um, like Michelle, a good
Yeah.
full size van that I could travel in. Um, Someday I would really like the Mini Winnie, the accessible Winnebago, and just,
Oh, yeah,
travel
that's
across
nice.
just travel across the country and not have to worry about finding an accessible bathroom or any of that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah.
Wow,
How soon
Robert got
after your
his.
injury did you start driving, Ellen?
I started driving, so I broke my neck in 82. No, I broke my neck in, when did I break my neck? I don't know. I broke my neck in 82. I was back in college by 83, so I was driving by 83. So I was out a year. I was in the hospital 6 months, and then I was home for about 3 months. And then my mom said,
Mhm.
"Get your shit together and go back to college," and got me a car and my apartment, and did the whole driving test thing, and was
Where
driving.
did you do your driver's training?
Uh, in Pomona, the out in Pomona. I don't know the name of it's a big spinal cord injury hospital out in Pomona. Does anybody know it?
Mhm.
Is
Anybody
that
out there?
Casa?
Huh?
Casa Colina?
No, Casa is elsewhere. It was way out east. Casa is south, right? So this was not Casa Colina. Maybe it was Casa Colina. No, isn't Casa Colina south? I don't know. It was 42
No.
years ago, people. I've been in this chair. I don't remember anything, but yeah, you went out there and you learned how to drive with the hand controls and the whole 9 yards,
Yeah.
and it was
Now,
awesome.
did the hospital set it up for you, Ellen, or did you go out on your own and went, "It's time for me to drive. Let me find a driver trainer"?
It was the hospital. The hospital set it up. My mom set it up. I mean, that was one thing about my mom. She was really proactive in finding the resources and the things for me to learn how to be independent. And so she
Great.
had it set up,
That's
and
nice.
Nice.
and maybe it
Yeah,
was Casa Colina.
absolutely.
Yeah, it is Casa Colina
Yeah.
because that's in Pomona. What is the other big one that's down south that Bobby Rohan works at?
Rancho.
Rancho
Rancho
Rancho.
Los Amigos.
Yeah. Okay.
in
So it was
Downey.
Casa
Yeah.
Colina. Yep, it was Casa Colina
Okay.
out in Pomona, and then Rancho is the one I was confusing. So
Yeah.
they were great. I did exercise therapy out there, and they were great teaching me how to drive, and and then you
Great.
learn. And then I never went and got my. So you're supposed to go get your license again
Oh,
when you
yeah.
learn to drive with hand controls. I never did that. I just drove with
Oh,
my old license. I didn't know. Nobody told me I had to go get another license until
yeah.
my license expired, and they're like, "Well, you're supposed to have this on there. You can't
Yeah.
drive without hand controls on your car." I'm like, really? I
Mhm.
think I know that. I don't know that I need it on my license to say I have to have hand controls, but I
I
have
think a
heard of
lot of
people,
people have done that. They just continue with their license until it expires. But I think people started having issues with insurance,
You bet.
because if you, get in an accident and you're driving hand controls and it's not covered, then you can get into lots of trouble. Yeah.
And you can't rent a car with hand controls unless you have it on the back of your license.
Under the license. Yeah.
And
really?
many of the mobility
Yeah.
dealers won't install hand controls for you unless you have it on your license.
And nobody
Yeah.
had a problem. I
I
didn't
don't know
have
if
a
any of
Yeah.
you did your
But
training
now I
at.
have it. Now it says, on the back of my license that I have to have it.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
What about
If
you?
any
I
of you
mean,
did your training, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I did. I was going to ask you, Michelle, when did you start driving afterwards?
I started driving 2 years after my injury, and I learned to do it out of Northridge Hospital back in early 90s. They had that big, remember that big cream colored Impala with the
Oh, yeah.
chair topper that came out of the top and all of that. And I learned to drive in that and had
Wow.
to do my driver's training in it as well when I went to get my license. they had to see that I could load the chair in and myself safely before I began to drive. Because if you didn't do that, you couldn't
Wow.
pass. And yeah, drove that big boat. And I remember one of my final tests with the driving instructor, she took me to Box Canyon out here between Simi and Chatsworth.
No,
Yeah, in that giant
that's not
car.
easy.
It's no, it's not. Lots of curves and
Oh, crap.
going downhill and going uphill, and but I managed to do it.
Was that like
And
at the regular DMV or a specialized, like somebody that
no,
did
it
your
was a
test?
special DMV place that I had to go to, like in Van Nuys.
Okay, because
And
I don't even remember when I did it, but
yeah, I don't know what they do now. If you just go to the regular DMV,
Yeah,
oh,
I'm sure.
yeah, you
Yeah.
do. And they don't take any place fancy.
hmm.
They just, but I actually helped, I did the order to make Northridge Hospital their first adaptive minivan for driver
Mm,
training. And I was
yeah.
wondering, Michelle, as a quad, how did you get in and out of that Impala? Wasn't that hard?
What with the transfer board way back when? Yeah, I was in my early 20s, so
Oh, yeah. Uh,
Everything was
yeah,
easier back then.
Big difference. I remember.
yeah,
Yep, that's
absolutely.
why we get older and do the adaptive now. And the other thing is portable hand controls, right? So
Yeah.
do you have some movement in your legs, Julianne? Do you use your feet or you drive with the hand controls?
No, no, because I can't feel my feet at all. So
Okay.
that would be
Ooh.
a little iffy. And I don't have enough control at all. Uh,
Whoops.
that would be scary. I was going to fly to Phoenix, and I called 6 out of the 6 companies that rent accessible vans here, and none of them will put hand controls into a rental van. And I'm about to
Mm,
go postal on them and find out. All I heard was that insurance liability is too high, but it made me feel like, oh, I'm in a wheelchair. I need to crawl up inside an apartment somewhere and never leave the house, right?
oh my gosh,
Be-
right? Yeah.
Because I'm not allowed to drive. And they did, one of them ventured to say, well, if you got portable hand controls, we wouldn't know about it and it
Mm,
wouldn't be our responsibility. And I went, I've seen horrible accidents with portable hand controls.
yeah,
So, no, that's not an option for me.
yeah.
So,
Mm,
I mean,
So,
because I was just going to say rental car companies do put hand controls in cars,
I
but
know, but you try to find a van rental company that will do it.
wow.
Now, in New
what
Jersey, I
can't,
had no problem,
Okay.
but nowhere in Arizona could I find a company that would even consider it.
Wow. Hmm,
So,
not good.
watch out. Juliana is on a rampage.
no, I don't blame you. I mean, and if
Yeah,
you find an accessible van rental, the prices are so freaking much more
ridiculous.
than a car
Yeah,
rental. So, I mean, when I have to travel and drive, I'm usually traveling with somebody, but we still get the hand control because, I
Yeah,
generally prefer driving. But now
yeah.
I have somebody to help me in and out and to put the car in the back. So, usually get like a little mid-size car, bring the transfer. Well, you could actually request transfer boards. They're supposed to have those too at
Oh,
rentals as
really?
well.
Hmm,
I didn't
Yeah,
know
you
that.
can. Yeah, you can request, and you can request the steering thing. I mean, you gotta call and you can put it on the reservation, but then you got to call and make sure. And then, you're generally better off bringing your own transfer board just because
transfer.
they can say they have it, but when you get there, you're
Yeah,
kind of
but
screwed. So, right. But,
where they find it?
yeah, I use portable hand controls all the time in our Euro van. Because we take it camping and then we have a portable ramp that we put out and the kids just push me in and out and I sleep in there. So I do
Yeah.
the portable hand controls. I mean, there can be an accident in anything. I think it's as much comfortable as you get using them. Portable
Yeah.
hand controls are just, a little more flexible than permanent hand
Hopefully
controls.
they've improved because I know years
Oh,
back a lot of people had issues with them because they wouldn't tighten,
oh
sufficiently.
no, they
So
are.
yeah, so they hit the brake and run into the wall in front of them,
Yeah.
and that wasn't
Yeah.
good. But
I think
I
I
understand
drove it all the
ours
I
is
drove a van all the way to Oregon and didn't have an issue up the
yeah, great.
101. So,
Yeah, good.
you do have to check them quite frequently.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, and they have the chain around them now, so, but you do
Hmm.
have to check them like every few stops, make sure they're not
Yeah.
loosening up. And I imagine there's some amazing better ones out there, or maybe they've all been outlawed because of accidents. Who knows?
That's right. Yeah.
It could be human error too. And as you say, Ellen, that can happen with any kind of a device, right?
Yep.
But back when I got my first vehicle with hand controls, it was an option whether to take driver's training or not. Either you can go to a driver's trainer, or I was told, go to a big parking lot. We'll put the hand controls in, go to a big parking lot, and just drive around until you get used to it.
Oh, wow.
And I went, yeah. So you know what? I think I'll go through driver training. What the hell?
Yeah.
And I found Charlie Corn, and Charlie Corn taught me how to drive. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was back then. But now, of course, like everything else, it's gotten much more rigid and a lot more paperwork. And
Absolutely.
this is the way you do it. Yeah.
Also, I mean, you mentioned insurance too. I make sure, and this is just a note for y'all, that my car is insured to cover my adaptations. So you actually have to make sure that you have a rider on your car insurance that it will. So my Scion's worth what, $17,000 maybe, but to replace it is like $46,000. So my car has to be insured for like $50,000. Now the good thing, folks, if you're working and you can get your insurance company to say that normally this payment without adaptations would be $180 a month, but with adaptations it's $250. That extra $70 is an impairment related work expense.
Okay.
So
there you go.
any work so any work on your adaptations, because that's not what normal people have to pay. I have to pay that extra because I have an impairment. So that becomes an impairment related work expense, which reduces your substantial gains, which can keep you under. So it's just an important thing to note. And some companies, like I always just like, can you please write it to me? Now Geico separated it out like, this is the exact amount for that, and this is the exact amount for this. Whereas with Amica, they're like, no, we cover it. Your car is insured for this much. I'm like, can you separate the differences to me? And they're like, well, we can tell you, but we're not going to, they don't provide a letter. But I always check every year with the renewal that, yes, ensure that I might, because if it goes, I can't afford the adaptation. I mean, the adaptations are more expensive than the car.
Right. Yeah.
So that is just something out that y'all got to look at. Sean went to renew to the DMV and he asked if he used hand controls. I replied, yes. He shrugged okay and signed the paper, but it's still not on your license.
Oh,
that's pretty.
Yeah.
Get it on there.
Have you been pulled over for any tickets? I wonder, if the cops, are if they notice that you're driving with hand controls and you don't have that little line in the back of your license, if they'll, make issue or make you come in and test again or something. I don't know.
I don't know. Sean, that long leg thing makes it hard because you have to have your legs somehow, but you got to be close enough to use the hand controls, which means your arms are the ones that have to be, so you have to have your seat close, right? And but your legs are all tucked up underneath there hitting stuff and you're trying to figure out how not to
Well, there's different kinds of hand controls, and some hand controls have a bar that, like, if it's the push of the right angle where you push towards for the brake and down for the gas, you're going to run into your leg if you've got long legs. But you could there's also a push pull, there's also a push rock, which is my favorite kind. So you push in for the gas and then you rock it. Push in for the brake, rock for the gas.
Really? Wow, that's interesting. Yeah.
And then there's the Minox hand controls that are like a gear shift on the right. So totally different. And then there's the Kempf hand controls that are a circle. It looks like a circle inside your steering wheel, and you use your...
Cool.
Yeah, those are a lot more expensive, but they're very cool.
I think those would be really cool. I would like those because I do love it when I can be on cruise control and sort of control everything. It's less stress on my hand. I don't know if anybody else gets it out there. Is any about? I get the carpal tunnel when my hands go numb when I drive really long. So I'm gonna get padding on my steering wheel, but it really that pushing and that. I have the push forward to brake, pull down to gas.
Yeah, especially in traffic, heavy traffic, and you're just stop and go. Oh my God.
Oh my, it kills you.
stuck on that freeway. Yeah, by the time you get there, it's like my hand is numb. I'm trying to shake it out and everything. Yeah, but
That's why
it's nice
cruise
that there's
control
so
is our
many.
friend.
Exactly, love my cruise
I
control,
love cruise control.
and it's
Oh
nice that
yeah.
there are options now. Before it was just your regular old standard hand control, and everybody got the same one and on the same side. With
Hmm.
addition, I don't know. Do you drive with the cuff, Ellen, or the
No, I don't
knob
have
or
that
anything?
cup. No, I've got good enough grip, but I am getting the big pad on the steering wheel. I noticed that
Yeah,
that helps.
gotcha.
You get the padded steering wheel now, and
Yeah.
I do love cruise control. I mean, the nice thing with pushing down, I have enough hand movement that I can steer with one thumb while I'm pushing down the gas,
Oh
and
yeah,
drink coffee with my
Yeah,
other hand.
exactly.
Do my
yeah,
makeup, drink my coffee while I'm driving with my hands for fun. It's bad enough. Yeah, watch out for the red cyan with flowers. That's all I'm telling
yeah.
you.
All right.
Yeah.
Reach
Now,
through
what
the
do you
steering wheel
ladies?
to get to the turn signals. That's
There you
that's
go.
the trickiest
Yeah,
one
yeah,
for
yeah,
me.
yeah, that's the trickiest one. Black Olive says the biggest concern was up and down hills. Yeah, it gets a little scary up and down hills, and that is a scary thing. And then tight corners, like if you're ever going through the
Oh,
canyon, it is such a workout. Like people don't realize, like you're
yeah, it is. It is
trying not
doing your
to,
turns and
you
all
know.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Now,
think
do
that
you
was the
Now,
girls
what do
part.
sit
you?
on a cushion when you drive, or do you just sit on the seat of the car?
I
Michelle,
just
I sit in
use
my
the
chair.
transfer seat.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right. You're
Yeah.
driving from your
What
chair.
is that? Yeah. Driving in a driver's seat that's installed versus driving out of your chair. I know, different people have different preferences. Because I did break my neck, I prefer driving in a transfer seat that has support for the
Oh, you
back of my
should.
head.
It's better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's a lot safer.
exactly. Yeah. I don't think I would feel safe without it. Because, you got to slam on those brakes every once in a while. And
And
I mean,
do
to
you
me,
sit on?
I'm just used to it. Yeah.
Do you put a cushion onto the car seat, or do you just sit on the
Mm,
car seat?
It just on the car seat. Yeah. Not the
For
Yeah,
most
no,
29,
comfortable, but
29 years, I just sat on the car seat, and I haven't gotten a pressure sore. But I thought,
yeah.
actually, it was Jeanette who told me. I've got the J cushion. I take the gel pack out of an old J cushion, and just
Yeah.
put the gel pack there, right where my sits
Yeah.
bones are. So there's some padding there, but I'm not being elevated by
Up
sitting on a
high.
cushion.
Yeah. That's exactly. Yeah.
Thanks, Jeanette. That was a good tip.
Especially
yeah.
on long road trips, that you're
Yeah,
kind of driving straight through and stuff. And it's like, yeah, it makes a difference.
7 hours.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love driving from a regular seat. I mean, it is much comfortable, but I'm
Yeah.
so used to. I've been doing this now since 2008, so
Hmm.
17 years
Yeah.
driving a Scion from my chair, and I
Yeah.
drive a lot.
Now, do you have a special lockdown for your chair?
Yeah. Well, it's just that, yeah, the lockdown they sort of use in a lot of vans and stuff. You
Gotcha.
push
Hmm.
Called an
the
easy lock. Called an
knob, and
easy
then
lock until
is that the
they
easy
were.
lock? No, I don't. It isn't the easy lock you roll into. This one I have to push the little and pull the seatbelt thing and strap it. Four different ones.
Oh, you
But
do
it's
4 manual tie downs.
Yeah, I do those, and they were
Wow.
really great. So at Aero Mobility, because they gave me a stick. I have a stick with a hook on the end to push down, so I can push the little button down and grab the
Yeah.
thing to lock it down. So they
Yeah.
bent up the end of the lock, like the little button that sticks straight out. They bent it up so that when I use my little stick, it pushes it down and it stays on it. And then I just
Oh,
reach and grab and lock it down. So
That's
and
really
that's
hard
a
to
lot of
do.
work.
I only
I
lock
know.
down 2. I only lock
Lots of
down 2
work.
of them, unless I'm
All
gonna
right.
do
Gotcha. All right.
you don't wanna know how
Yeah.
I yeah,
Somebody
I'm out there
recently
Yeah.
crazy.
told me that they don't have a lockdown for their chair. They just put the brakes on and go. Yeah.
I know, wild
Yeah,
and
yeah. You
crazy,
didn't hear it here. You didn't hear it here. We don't
I
advise
mean,
that.
good brakes with the lockdown are important. I mean, it is
Yeah,
important to have good brakes because they do help it.
absolutely. Yeah,
But as I said, I don't drive. I mean, if I can wheel, I'd rather wheel.
yeah,
So, and yeah, I mean, but I
yeah,
mean, I love my Scion, although I think as I got, if I ever transition to another car, it will definitely have the transfer seat and the whole 9 yards.
yeah.
But who knows? They're going to come up with amazing things, hopefully, research will continue. And
Exactly.
there's my little, that's my old one, but my new one
Okay.
is exactly like that, but red
Oh, so
with
your door
flowers.
comes all the way up. Yeah.
Yes,
All right.
it opens up like a DeLorean, and the little ramp comes down. I do feel really
Mm-hmm.
protected because when the ramp comes up, if I got hit on that side, they would hit the big ramp, which is pretty solid metal. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it got that little bit of extra protection. But yeah, and you can see
Yeah.
the lockdowns are in there. It's hooked up onto the dash. I have one hooked up. I'm actually not locked in this one, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's got a lot of room. It's a great little
Gotcha.
car. I really like the room, and it's fun, and everybody stops and looks when it opens up like a DeLorean, and little kids are like, "I want to go
Wow.
like that."
She's
I
going
That's
see
back
it
to
in
cool.
the
your
future.
Yeah, because it does open like that. It's a great
yeah.
design. I mean, Freedom Motors, it's a Freedom Motors design, and they've done some really cool designs.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, from what I understand, it costs so much money to get it past all the crash testing. And
Inspections and
I
everything.
mean,
Yeah.
even with the amount of people with spinal cord injuries out there, we're not a huge market share. You're not going to be selling a million of these, right? You're not
Yeah.
going to.
Exactly.
You're lucky if you sell
Yes.
100.
Yeah.
So
And
they've gone back to vans.
Julianne, since you've been selling vans for many years, how has the price increased from when you started selling or started being a user to now?
Astronomically.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have anything to do with the number of people with disabilities,
Mm-hmm.
because the market has just keeps going up and up. It
Yeah.
has to do with it started with COVID, where the shipping policies, trying to get things shipped out became more and more expensive, and there were big months and months at a time when you couldn't get ignition switches, when you
Oh,
couldn't
wow.
get, mainly in metals, started during COVID. And then, of
Yeah.
course, once prices go up, they're never going to go back down. It's like,
Yeah.
gas taxes. You say, oh, it's
Yeah.
just going to be a tax just for 3 years. No, it never goes down again. Just doesn't.
No.
It is.
So now with the tariffs, it just keeps going up and
Wow.
up and up. So that
Yeah.
a new vehicle is over $100,000, which is
Wow. That's crazy.
criminal.
Cost prohibitive to a lot of
Yeah.
people.
Absolutely
I'd have to say
criminal.
we're lucky, and because yeah, it is a big chunk of money, and I think a lot of people who would love to drive, it's just not an option because they're priced out on it.
That's why you
And
go looking for good used ones. But there aren't
exactly,
that many used ones right now. It's kind of like the
yeah,
real estate market. It goes up and down to buyers or sellers' advantage. And right now it's a
yeah,
big seller's advantage
hmm,
because there aren't enough used vehicles. So I looked
yeah,
at my car, which had just under 60,000 miles and was a
yes,
2019. And I went, this is the perfect time to sell it
yeah,
because
and
it's a Toyota. It's got many good years, and I can get top
exactly,
dollar for it right now. So that's what I
yeah,
did.
So Black
So
Olive
it's
is asking about, yeah, I was just gonna say she's asking about fundraising. And it is difficult. I know if you are on SSDI or SSI, you can do past plans to save for a
hmm,
vehicle if you want to go to school or work or you're working towards that, which basically allows you to take your SSDI money and or your SSI money, it puts it in an account, and then they still give you that money on top of it. I mean, it sort of is a weird, you can talk to them about it. There are programs through the government systems. Triumph, I think, gives away a van a year if they have them in stock. I know I just donated a van to them, but they also have programs that you can apply
yeah,
for if you're planning on going to work. Um, uh, there is Loma Lita provides funding for vans, and then you know that the general fund thing that people do, go fund it, right? You can do a
go
yeah,
GoFundMe and
fund.
let people know. So those are ways to do it, but I really think that there are a lot of amazing programs out there. United Spinal, I think, does some
hmm,
programs that will help fund vans if you have educational or goals. So really
yeah,
go in and look at the various programs for people with disabilities out there and see if they have the grants or the funds to get you started.
yeah,
Talk to your return to work or your past plans on the Social Security website about ways to help fund getting the transportation that you need, because in LA especially, now in other places public transportation really can work, and you
Yeah.
know, in LA it's a lot different. For me, so access services, that was one of the things I said, we'll take access, but because I'm a quad, I have hypo and hyperthermia. Like I can't do the elements. So
Yeah.
I almost died of heat stroke in college taking access because I was sitting out in the sun, because you have to be there for over an hour. And by the time I
Yeah.
got on, I was hallucinating and ended up in
Yeah.
the hospital. So that
Yeah.
was my sort of justification, like, sorry, with
I
the
can't.
quadriplegia, I can't be dependent on people that are not dependable, right? You don't know
Yeah.
when they're coming. So that
Exactly.
really does not work for me. And that was able to then save into a past
Yeah.
plan to get my first car. So, you know, it is looking out there. It,
There's a
it's
couple
hard.
other ones that everybody should know about. Of course, Department of Rehab, if you have the goal of going back to school or to get a
Right.
job,
Yes.
under certain circumstances, they will pay for the conversion for any of the adaptations. You got to come up with the funds for the chassis, but they will pay for all the conversions, which is at least half, usually, of the
Well,
cost of a vehicle.
36
Help.
years ago, they used to give you the adapted van. I was actually fortunate to get my first van through Department of Rehab. It was not an easy task, you know. And I was already working, and so in order to maintain my job, I needed a vehicle that was dependable. And at that time, it was kind of sad because I know they had hundreds of vans parked in Sacramento,
Sure did.
and they wouldn't give them away. It's like that's what they're there for, you know, to give people freedom, independence, and allow them to go back to school, back to work, and all of that. And by the time people got them, well, you know, the van was falling apart because it's been sitting in the heat, closed up for years and years.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
guess they stopped doing the whole van thing. Now it's just funding for, you know, adaptations and modifications for your vehicle. But like everything else, you really have to fight for it.
Yep. It is
Absolutely.
a lot of
Mhm.
fighting, a lot of writing. The key is
Yeah.
that your doctor writes it up correctly, and, you know, make sure you're justifying why. So you have to think of every scenario, because they're going to say, well, what about Uber? Well, what about this? Well, what about that?
Yeah.
And if you have an answer for all of that, then they'll eventually start to support it. Um, yeah, it's important. I
Yeah.
mean, of course, for anybody, it can be difficult to get a car. But
What is that? There's a funding source, well, a crowdsourcing, kind of like GoFundMe, that is for medical equipment, modifications, or something that you need related to your disability. And I can't recall the name of it. Do you know,
Well, I'm a
Julian?
big fan of Help Hope Live,
Yes,
and
Help Hope
they
Live is it.
they
Yeah.
don't they don't raise money for you. They teach you to raise money.
How to raise money.
And
Exactly.
because they're a 501c3 nonprofit, if grandma gives you $100, it goes to Help Hope Live. So it's a
Mhm.
deduction for grandma
Yeah.
and it goes into your fund.
Mhm.
So they are wonderful, wonderful people and they're
Yes.
national. So, and what I've found being on the board of several nonprofits is that if you want to get some big money, you need to get money from a lot of different sources
Exactly.
because I just started on the funding board for California Rehab, and we have a maximum of 7,000. Believe it or not, that's a lot for
Yeah.
a maximum to give away money.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
we need to see that other organization, that Triumph's giving you money,
Exactly.
that your church is giving you money, that the library, you did a fundraiser at the library, and then
Hmm.
if you come into us with, seeing that you've worked your ass off to get this money, well, of
Hmm.
course we want to help you, you
Yeah.
know?
Exactly.
And also it should be mentioned, all the nonprofits have different rules for the people they will fund.
Yes.
Some
Exactly.
people are just spinal cord injury. Some people are specific disease. Some people only
Hmm.
play the violin, whatever.
Yeah.
So we're lucky we have the internet so you can look this stuff up.
Search for it. Exactly. Yeah. You're not just going to get a whole full blown modified band, you know, from one source. It's true. You have to do some of your own fundraising as well. They have to see that you are putting in the efforts towards raising funds for that. So, Yeah, there are no van giveaways, unfortunately. Yeah.
Actually, I believe Braun gives away one every year, unless they've stopped it. I think Mobility Works does too. And
Okay.
last I checked, it was an essay contest. So
Oh,
just look around, figure it
look
out. But we got
around.
to get
Yeah,
in.
exactly.
We got to get in airplanes and buses and trains in the next 15
Mm-hmm.
minutes.
Yeah.
So who's got a story?
Trains.
I will go ahead.
The only I've ridden in trains twice, and actually that was in New York, and it was one of the trips was to drive up to Albany, and you get on that train, and it's, it was about a 2 hour drive kind of a thing, but there are no lockdowns. And we were traveling at the time, so my husband put the suitcases in front of me so that I wouldn't roll in any direction. But the plus was is that it had a nice big accessible restroom right in the back where we were seated and all of that. And that was really cool. Now, the second time I took the train was also in New York, and we were headed to Long Island because my husband found my used van back in 2017. It was a practically brand new 2014 van that someone had adapted and unfortunately was not able to use it for very long. So the dealer owner knew this person and decided to help the wife sell it. Well, they sold it at a great, great price. I mean, my husband scoured the internet for a used van and came across it, and we couldn't find anybody who would ship it. So we took the red eye to New York, hopped on the plane to Long Island, and drove cross country with my new van. So that was a pretty cool experience.
That's
And
cool.
maybe not all stations are accessible, I want to say. I mean, the no break thing, yeah, is something you have to be cautious about. But I understand long distance trips on trains maybe aren't as should I say, as comfortable, or with all the stops and no lockdowns or anything like that. And so that you kind of have to consider the length of your trip and how long you can, be on there and take care of your needs and all of that. Yeah. What about
So
you, Ellen? Have you taken the
I've been to
train?
the train a couple of times, gone down to San Diego on it, and I think I
Mm-hmm.
transferred over and just let my, had a seat and transferred over. I'm trying
Yeah.
to remember. I also took a train up to Oregon once, but they have accessible sleeper cars. You can some of them have accessible sleeper cars, and that was
Mm-hmm.
really cool because you could
For long term.
transfer onto the bed for the long term and
That's great.
sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the trains are just as expensive as many planes. I know
Yeah.
that Sarai and Leon had to go. Thank you guys for coming. So trains are no longer inexpensive, right? Back in the day, they were
Yeah.
much less expensive. But the thing that I always hated is that you can't, like, if there's a food car, you can't get to the
Can't get
food
off.
car. Like, I hated it because it's like, yeah, I'm on the train and it's really cool, but I can't enjoy any of the amenities of the train going in, and I didn't have to use the bathroom on it, so I don't even know if the one with the accessible car had a bathroom, I think, that was accessible there because I was on
Mm-hmm.
it for a while, but, planes are good. I mean, the aisle chair, if the folks know what they're doing and they transfer you early and get you on before
Exactly.
everybody else, if they don't know what they're doing and you have to get on when everybody's already on there and you're knocking into
Exactly.
people because they keep their arms out even though you're going through. It sucks. I mean, I know that they're designing a new lockdown system on airplanes that, people want to stay in their motorized chair, but
Going to
No,
be a while.
no.
they
Yeah.
do. I mean, some of
If
them have accessible bathrooms. When I flew to London back in the 90s, they had an accessible wheelchair bathroom, and they had an onboard aisle chair, and so
Mm-hmm.
they sat me right, literally catty corner to the accessible bathroom. So the
So
aisle chair, like, they just bring it and I hop on, and then I could pull myself in and
yeah.
have it in there, and that was really cool because I had just broken up with somebody who was drinking a shitload. They were just giving me champagne because the boy at the time broke up with me, like, on the tarmac going
Oh
into
my
the
gosh.
all the flight attendants knew, and they're like, "Oh my god, what an asshole!" And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Yeah." They're like, "You're free champagne the whole trip." I'm like, "Okay, but
Nice.
now I gotta pee a lot." So
Absolutely. Yeah.
and that was really cool. It was one of the only flights I've seen that had like a wider accessible bathroom that
Bathroom.
really,
Hmm.
the other
Yeah.
ones, like, yeah, we have an onboard aisle chair, but nobody knows how to frickin' use it. And then,
Yeah.
it takes 20 minutes to get in there. And then you're stuck in this little hole of a bathroom that you can't
Oh
get out
gosh. Yeah.
of. You're like, so I mean, I'm hoping that they advance and improve that, because I hear so many folks. And if you've been one of those folks where you just don't eat or drink before you
Yeah.
go on
The
a
whole
flight
trip.
because you don't want to have to pee, you're like, and then I know there are people that'll cath in a cup, put
Yeah.
a something
It's like you
over
have to
them.
time it right, Start
Yeah,
drinking like after you're a couple of hours into it, and then that way you don't have to go
right.
until you
Can't drink yet.
deplane.
Yeah,
The other thing to consider though when you are flying somewhere is how you're going to get around once you are at your destination. Um, I drive my full size van, so I haven't done card transfers in years. But our last trip, we rented the car, and yeah, by the end of the trip, I had so many bruises up and down my elbows and forearms from transferring into this unfamiliar car and all of that. I mean, it was doable, but after going to several places one day, it gets exhausting to get in and out.
that is.
But you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna. That's an excellent point. New York cabs have evolved, and they have a special line for the disabled cabs, and it
Yeah.
is amazing. Like,
Hmm.
they just wheel you right in there, and you call them, and they'll come pick you up, and you can set up
Exactly.
times in advance. You download the app, and you can set them what time you want them to pick up. So the
Yeah,
last
that's
time
right.
we went to New York, we had actually a cab, and it took a long time because we flew, but we had a cab pick us up from the airport, and we had a cab take
Yeah.
us to the airport, and it
Hmm.
was pretty quick, but none of that having to transfer in and out of other people's cars, which just starts to, when you can stay in your chair, it made a huge
Yeah.
difference in experiencing New York and wanting to go. Like, we went to Harlem, and we were staying in the Broadway district, and I would have never
Hmm.
considered like going to dinner in Harlem or exploring further areas than we could
Yeah.
wheel, if they didn't have accessible taxis. So always, I think one of the great things is to check before you go. What are the accessible options
Hmm.
there, right? So,
Yeah.
London is also really good with cabs. All the cabs have they just pull a little ramp out and you can go right
Hmm.
in, transfer to the seat, or stay in your chair, either one.
Wow.
So,
Oh,
hmm
yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I think the bigger cities are really trying to,
except LA.
have, yeah, except for
LA still is
LA.
LA
That
is
is
yeah, we have none
spread
that are
out
really
all
accessible
over the
here.
place. And even if you do take a metro or whatever, you have to transfer so many times to get to where you're going.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
personally haven't ridden the metro. Have any of you tried the metro in LA?
Yeah, I've done it a couple of times.
Yeah.
We did it down to a protest. It's okay. I mean, if the
Yeah.
elevators to go down are working, and and you can get on and off. I mean, once you're on, it's not bad. You don't have to lock down. You hold on and go. I mean,
Yeah.
I know Atlanta has a great system, and Chicago has a great system with you just wheel on and and off, and
Hmm.
you don't have to lock down. You just hold
Yeah.
on. I mean, because honestly, if I'm going on and off, I don't want the 20-minute lockdown thing. I love it when people are
yeah,
like,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
"Can you put your brakes on it?" Thanks, Robert. Good to see you, Nicole. Have a great weekend. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think the travel is. I think like anything on trains, planes, automobiles is always research, research, research.
Yeah,
And
Exactly.
then if they piss you off, be Juliet and go like make a
Yeah.
change. Man.
I wanted
Now
to
the
talk
other thing, yeah,
briefly.
sorry. Hmm.
I wanted to
Go
talk
ahead.
about safety because I
Okay.
travel so much and I sent a picture to Sean. I always travel now with this yellow hammocky thing. It's called the Adapts Portable Sling and transfer sling, sorry. And the reason I travel with it, two things. When I get on an airplane, I put it on my seat
Hmm.
it's like a sheet. So I stretch it over the seat, sit on it, And then when other people get on, I say, I know it's safe. We know that we're not going to have any trouble, but did you know that in case of an emergency, the disabled people are the last ones off the
Last
airplane?
to go. Mm-hmm.
So, in case of an emergency, could you, sir, pick up this end? Could you, ma'am, pick up this end and make sure you throw me down that chute?
Adapt.
Every single
Adapt.
time the
Yeah.
people are nice, it breaks the ice, so to speak, and I know that I'm covered.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to send me down that chute before I'm the
Grab
last one off
you.
the airplane.
Yeah.
Right.
Then hotels. I've been in hotels many times when there have been fire alarms. One time when there was an actual fire and they turn the elevators off, as you know.
Of course. Yeah.
So I don't knock and say, ma'am, will you help me? But I keep the adapt sling in my suitcase so that if there is an emergency, I do have a way to grab civilians and say, you hold this end, you hold this end, and
Carry you
take
down
them
that
down the
way. Yeah.
stairs.
No, that's cool.
So I don't know, Sean,
Yeah.
if you can show the picture, but
He said it can't get it to load for some reason, but the
all
link is
right.
in
Well, it's
the link is in the chat, is in the
okay.
description.
Yeah.
Well, it's
That's
bright
cool.
yellow. You can't miss it. You may have seen it at the Abilities Expo too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like about $200. If you use my initials, JD15, you get 15% off
Oh,
for
cool.
what it's worth. And if you do a lot of travel, or I say any travel, I would stick it in your suitcase, put it on your
Yeah.
airline seat.
Yeah.
Just
And
a
just and one
few.
of the things
Mhm.
that I want to bring to light is that you are responsible for your safety. You need to
Yes.
make sure if you have to be tied down that they're tying you down correctly. If they're helping you transfer, they're doing it correctly. They're not hurting you. If there's no lockdown, you've gotta can't sit there on your phone not paying attention and not hanging on. You need to hang on. Yes, there are things that maybe they would have blame if an accident were to happen or you were to fly out of your chair or whatever. But you need to take care of yourself. You can't,
Hmm.
just sit there and be unaware and then all of a sudden you're going headfirst into the aisles. So,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, and that's for anybody because that bus crash out in New Jersey, I think it was Jersey or Long Island, and they said the people that were killed were the ones that didn't have their seatbelts on, weren't
yeah, weren't hanging on. Yeah. So whether it's a train, plane, automobile,
Absolutely. Because
boat, canoe, you have to
it's not
take
going to
care of
go
your
smoothly.
safety.
And if you go into a travel experience expecting everything to go smoothly, you're not going to
Exactly.
have a good time. You have to
Yeah.
be aware and flexible, right?
Yeah.
And
Go with
deal with
the
whatever.
flow and deal with it.
Part of the reason we
Yeah.
travel. It's an adventure.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Otherwise, stay home and don't go anywhere because the world is not accessible. Yeah.
No.
At least 100%. But
Oh, we didn't cover boats. Anybody
oh,
got boat
boats?
stories?
Oh
No.
yeah, I mean there's a great adaptive sailing out there. I don't know if you guys are, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So there's great adaptive sailing out there. I've done boats, not like, not to transfer, like, I mean, just for fun, like
Hmm.
recreational. You go on a sailboat
Yeah.
or cruises, on cruises all the time. And they're great because
Hmm.
they're really generally accessible and they have lots of accessible bathrooms and your room is accessible and you always know that you have a place you can go to when you're out all night, but you want to go back.
Yeah.
So boats work too. I mean, again, I think Michelle and Julianne make the best point is you're responsible. What do you need with you to feel safe? Is it a transfer board? Is it the sling? Is it, what do you need? Make sure your brakes are in good condition. Make sure your wheels are in good
Exactly.
condition. All of that before you go. And,
And if you're one who doesn't normally use a seatbelt, maybe when you're in an unfamiliar place and you're going down those cobblestone streets or New York with a giant potholes just before the curb cutout or anything like that, it might be a good idea just to be safe and buckle up. All right. Ooh, we got
absolutely.
some feedback here.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know if it's you or me.
Yeah. No, I don't know where we're getting feedback from.
Okay.
All right. So
All right.
I
Well,
guess we
thank you all. I think that's it. We've done planes, trains, automobiles, and boats.
and boats.
Leon, Sarai, I hope I'm saying that right. And I know you've probably been here. Robert, Nicole, Leah, everybody out there, thank you for joining us this week. If you have ideas for next month's show, let us know.
Yeah. And Black Olive for being
And
our big cheerleader out there. Thank you for
Yes.
joining us.
And a thank you again to our sponsors, mobility professionals and
Absolutely.
urology professionals. Thank you for supporting us. It means the world to us and the whole community.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you,
All
Live
right,
to
guys.
Roll. We love you for hosting
Yes.
us and for always making such great connections to everybody. We appreciate you.
Indeed.
Fantastic.
And
Yes.
yes, thank you all so much. Have a great weekend. I hope it's cooler next week.
Yeah. See you next month, guys. Take care.
Bye.